This is TWiT.
The security firm Cyble, C-Y-B-L-E, Cyble, recently scanned the internet for instances of, and it's just hard to imagine this, completely open VNC servers lacking any password protection, any authentication of any kind. You connect to them and you're looking at a desktop with mouse and keyboard access. They found more than 9,000 of those, which they were able to freely log into. And as I'll get to in a moment, these were not all safe to leave open. Okay, so first of all, for those who don't know, VNC stands for Virtual Network Computing. It's a very old, open, platform-independent, and very popular remote console access system, which implements a protocol called RFB, which is Remote Frame Buffer. So one runs a VNC server on some machine, typically any random desktop operating system, and this server allows a remote networked user with a matching client to view the machine's console and use its keyboard and mouse remotely. It's essentially Windows RDP, remote desktop protocol, but it's non-proprietary. It's not Microsoft's. So this firm, Cyble, scanned and found more than 9,000 machines openly exposing their access without any form of authentication. So this begs the question, why? How? Well, what could the possible reason be? How is it possible? Is it the result of negligence or error, or maybe a misguided, deliberate decision for convenience? Most of the exposed instances are located in China and Sweden. Those are the top two by far, but the United States, Spain, and Brazil were also well represented. Cyble identified 1,555 passwordless instances in China, 1,506 in Sweden, with the U.S. coming in third at 835, followed by Spain at 555 and Brazil with 529. And as if just having consoles exposed was not bad enough, they found that some of these exposed VNC instances, which were obviously making accessible industrial control systems. They wrote, during the course of the investigation, researchers were able to narrow down multiple human-machine interface HMI systems, supervisory control and data acquisition systems, SCADA, workstations, etc., connected via VNC and exposed publicly over the internet. In one of the explored cases, the exposed VNC access led to one of these human-machine interface, an HMI, for controlling pumps on a remote SCADA system in an unnamed manufacturing plant. So anybody could literally go there, bring up this control panel, and start turning things on and off. And maybe it's just a spoof. I mean, it occurs to me there could be a honeypot, right, to see if someone does that. Being curious to see how often attackers are targeting VNC servers, Cyble used its tools to monitor for attacks over port 5900, which is VNC's default server port. They found that there were over 6 million connection attempts in a month. Most attempts, think of 6 million attempts in a month. I don't know how many IPs they were monitoring, but wow. Most attempts to access VNC servers, they were able to determine that, originated from the Netherlands, Russia, and the United States. So nothing to be proud of here in the U.S., unless it could be security services benignly scanning, but you don't do that 6 million times. It's worth noting that this was just a scan for VNC servers requiring no authentication. Cyble's report noted that if they had raised the bar just a bit by including VNC servers using weak and easily cracked passwords, like password or probably monkey, the number of exposures would have skyrocketed. And to that end, sadly, many VNC products are old and not super securable at best. Many, for example, offer only passwords of up to 8 characters. That's no longer enough when you're able to conduct a brute force attack on something that looks juicy. Like I said, much of this stuff is old, so they are inherently insecure. And so once again, we face the rule of the internet that really needs to take hold. The only servers that should ever be made publicly accessible are those that have to be accessed anonymously by the public. Everything else should be behind a VPN, SSH login, or an overlay network like Tailscale. We have to do it.
I wonder if my favorite VNC is one of the affected ones. Chicken of the VNC. Have you heard of that one?
Chicken of the VNC.
I kid you not.
That's great.
It was a Windows VNC. I don't use VNC anymore, but
no, I actually when I was a couple years ago when I was getting my world set up to do SpinRite debugging, I was looking for like the best way to do remote debugging, and so I was looking to see if there was any like text-based VNC that I could use.
That would be cool.
Because and so I dusted off VNC and took a look at it and looked at various ways of using it, and I ended up not finding anything that was better than just good old Windows networking. But anyway,
and RDP has had its problems too. It's not like it's fail-proof either.
No, and but in the case of VNC, one of the problems is its age. But of course, the fact that you even know of Chicken of the VNC demonstrates it's been around forever.
Oh yeah. It's I didn't make that up, kids. In my day, that's what we used. Chicken of the VNC. Yeah.
It was really good, and its mercury content was low.
Very low. So
it
was line cut.